Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on July 6, 2021 at approximately 8:29 a.m. PST. Well, things are definitely changing around, getting sorted around. I would show you, but frankly, I don't have the capability of it. But I just had the draft shown to me for the third book in the series I'm writing. Technically, it's the final book in the fourth trilogy. Okay, but the important factor is we're making headway. Office is already sorted out today, so that's a good thing. Coffee's here, notes are over there. We're good to go. Now, of course, the reality of life is this. When you're reorganizing your life, when you're getting it started, it is absolutely imperative not to have an idea where you're heading. And, you can have all the plans in the world, but where you're heading doesn't really matter. Where you are is the critical factor. If you focus on the things you're not content with in your life, then what you will find is by correcting the things that you're not content with, by eliminating them, by changing them, by altering them, all you're left with are the things that you are content with. Net result, you think more clearly, your energy levels go up, your stress levels go down, and your ability to cope with the silly things people do out there, and there's another word for that, becomes easier to cope with. Now, I got up this morning. I was actually up by about 3 o'clock this morning. It's now 8, so I've already put 5 hours in. Okay, which gives you an idea how my day goes. Considering I usually go to bed somewhere around 10 to 10:30, back up by 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a fair amount accomplished. This is one of the reasons why I can do as much as I do. Now, of course, I can see things behind me because I'm looking at the same video I'm talking to. Half the time I feel like I'm talking to myself, which is not in and of itself a bad thing. But I am very happy with the way that energy feels today. Okay, some stuff I don't require. Okay, which is why I'm altering the things and getting them out of the way. What the heck was that? Oh, okay. One of those things I have to file. But that's okay. All things get sorted around in time. Now, the reality of it is, I've talked to you many times about Feng Shui. Getting the energy set so your work area works well. Now, if I could show you the work area, I would, but frankly, that's not possible. But I've got my work area worked out now, so I can actually make headway with it. Got a number of sheets of paper here. Whoop, that wasn't good. Oh, money. That's always nice, dropping money on the floor. No, I don't have that much I can throw it away. But what I do have is the stuff that I need in order to actually get ahead. Now, when we talk about energy flow, understand if you're focusing on the things you're not content with, if you're just going, oh, my life is miserable and why am I always behind the 8 ball? Well, part of the reason that you may find you're behind the 8 ball is because you're seeing yourself as always behind the 8 ball. Yeah, I know, it's a real pain in the neck going, I'm actually in good shape, when in all fairness, you're struggling one day to the next. And this is why you do things one step at a time. Okay, by focusing on that sort of thing, what you'll find happen, if you focus on the things you've got control over, so you can alter the flow, because you can't stop energy, you cannot destroy energy. You literally simply redirect it. Okay, and if you're focusing on how miserable life is and how bad your life is going and how bad it's always gone and it's always going to be that way, sad to say, if you stay focused on that line of thinking, that is what you're co-creating. Okay, now, I'm not saying bad things don't happen. Lord knows I've been through more than my fair share of them. But what you will find is if you focus on the things that you've got control over, redirect the energy in a way that you personally are happy with. In case you're wondering why I'm looking over here, it's because I'm writing with my left hand and I still haven't got it back to where I desire it to be. Okay, but I've got my desk cleared again so I can actually do that. Okay, and by doing that, it means while I'm talking to you, I can actually get this other thing done. Multitasking, normally if I didn't have to look, if I was writing over here, it wouldn't be a big problem. Okay, it really wouldn't. Now, this particular little thing here was a list that I sent off to get some artwork done for another book I'm working on. And again, done with it, so we tear it in half. Well, actually more than that. And I got a recycling bin down there that I deal with. Okay, so now what I'm doing while I'm talking to you, by getting this out of the way, as soon as I'm done this recording, I can actually carry on with other things. Okay, it works out really well for me. I don't know how well it works out for you, but the reality is, if you do the same thing, okay, if you take a look at the things you're not content with and organize them in such a way that you can actually alter the direction, you can redirect the energy so it goes where you require it, okay, instead of where it seems to want to go of its own accord. Because the reality is this: if you don't tell energy where it's going to go, it's going to do its own thing. And whatever you're focusing on, if it's conscious focus, the energy will go where you guide it. If you're not deliberately guiding it, then what happens is your subconscious will dictate where it goes. And that becomes the problem. Okay. Because energy will continue to move, whether it's got a direction or not. It'll just go where it finds easiest route. Okay. Now, one of the neat little things about that is once you realize that even if your subconscious is telling you one thing, if your mind is deliberately focusing on another, on something more productive, you can actually drive yourself out of that sense of loss, that sense of depression. Okay, the other thing to really help if you're fighting depression, find the fastest paced dance music you can find, crank it up as high as is socially acceptable, and then let it run in the background. The increase in the vibratory rate that is generated by the music will help bring your mood up to a decent level. And you may find it drives your adrenaline up at the same time, meaning you'll be able to get more accomplished, thereby feeling like you're not doing nothing. Okay, it is a bit of a pain in the neck on occasion, striving to redirect your energy. And, I do apologize for well, actually, no, I really don't apologize. Okay, I do this so that I can stay ahead of the game. And once I get finished with it, then I'll be content with that side of it. Okay, Lord knows there's a lot that I've got to get done, a lot of videos I desire to get done. But these are all things that I've been forgetting about or putting off. Like I told you, I am a professional procrastinator. I have been for years. I'm finally getting past that, but this is how I do it. Okay, is with this list of things to get accomplished. Now, while I've been sitting here, I'm wrapping off one thing, and like I said, recommended idea, do one thing at a time. Okay, you put 3 items down on the list. When you finish one, check it off and put a 4th one down. In my case, I have a tendency of getting ahead of myself. Okay, so all I'm doing at this point is making sure I've got everything organized that I require. And the good news about it is this: if we all, quite literally, so how about we get a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel? Don't forget to hit the alert button to let you know when the videos come out. Because the idea here, from my standpoint, is it's time to drive the energy up for people. It's time to really get started on correcting things. Okay. And, what I'm doing here is just making notes. As a matter of fact, the reality of this is I just put the paperwork here. Okay. Now I'm looking in the view behind me here, the same video you're looking at. And I'm looking at here, and I think the next one I'm going to put down here is the black binders. Okay, now tomorrow, And I'm doing that, I'm telling you this for a few reasons. One is I'm a firm believer that if you're going to tell somebody this is the way to go, like I've mentioned a number of times, all the time actually, really, pretty much. I'm a spiritual guide. And the reality is the tools that I offer people are the same ones I'm using myself. So of course, this issue of writing down the shelf with the black binders here is telling me I've got to get it done. And of course, the reality is because I'm telling you, the odds are I'm more likely to get it finished. Okay, and maybe that's a bit of a cop out, but it's what I refer to as, it's kind of a subconscious kick in the pants to say, hey, you said you were going to do it, get it done. So that little shelf behind me that's got the 2 or 3 black binders on it, yeah, there's 3 of them. Okay, those 3 black binders will either be cleared out and gone, or I'll know exactly what's in them, and I'll fill you in on that tomorrow. As a matter of fact, okay, now the thing is, if you straighten the energy in your house out, you'll feel more relaxed, more energetic, like you're actually getting things accomplished. And by doing that, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to be less stressed, and therefore more adept at dealing with the other people outside that are having their own issues. Net result, if everybody is doing this, if everybody gets the negative stuff in their life running in a positive fashion according to them, while still following karmic law, what you'll find happen is that your whole community starts to clear up. You'll find stress levels go down, anger goes down, accidents collapse. The fighting that has been going on for decades, well, frankly, it's been going on for generations, can finally come to a close. Okay, and you'll find that once the energy starts running smoothly in a community, which is why I'm calling on each and every one of you to do this. See, I return to pass on a very simple message. It's time for every single entity in existence to start working together. Now, this is a monumental task. And even if we just focus on the people that are classified as human, okay, whether they are or not is not my concern. And bear in mind, I work with aliens and UFO technology all the time. Okay, this is one of the reasons why I'm writing the reference manuals that I am. But I return to pass on one message. Working together, we can make this a better life for all. Okay, we really can turn it into a better situation. Okay, now, the nice part about it is I can't do it on my own. I can tell you what I'm doing. I can tell you what is really required or has the best chance of success from what I can see. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and just to make you feel better. Okay, heck, I'm not going to lie to you to make you feel worse unless you want me to. But I will tell you, every tool I offer is a tool that I personally use. Okay. And with that in mind, I'm going to pause this for half a second because I'm going to get started on something that I probably shouldn't, but what the heck, I might as well. Now, remember I said that procrastination, I used to be extremely good at it? Well, there's the first issue. I've moved the binders over here because now they're in my way and they've got to get dealt with. However, as every one of you turns around and starts getting the negative energy, unblocking the energy in your own life, you move it out of the way and redirect it to a more positive direction. Then what ends up happening is people start working more effectively together. Okay, and this is a rather important factor. Now I'm going to do something I haven't done before. This time I'm not going to pause it. I'm just going to get over here and move something. Okay, now, this is that sign that I was talking about that says, I am worth it. Okay, and it actually belongs sitting right here, out of the way. Because now it's not in my way. It's now up on the shelf where it belongs. Now, granted, it's not stuck to the wall. Like, as in, I didn't put hooks on it and hang it on the wall. It's just leaning there, but that's okay. That works for me. Okay, this was what I was referring to about don't keep procrastinating like you probably have been doing. If you're anything like I was, and I call it was because I've made a very conscious decision that I don't like the way that's working. But working together, we can eliminate the stress. We can eliminate stress. We can eliminate fear. Well, fear is going to be there. We can eliminate war, famine. We can eliminate jealousy. Envy will always be one of those things that you kind of work with. But then envy has a positive purpose. Envy is something when you look at somebody and go, gee, I wish I could paint like you. So it encourages you to improve your own it encourages you to improve your own ability to paint or to draw or to write or whatever. Okay. Envy says, I really desire to do that, so I'm going to figure out how to do it, either by asking the person that's doing it or by turning around and figuring it out myself. Okay, jealousy is a very violent counterpart to that says, I'm going to destroy what you made so I feel better. Or I'm going to steal what you made so I've got it. And now I don't have to do the work for it. Envy encourages you to do your own work. Okay, now you may sit there and go, well, I could never do that. I will tell you this. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, either one, you're going to be pushing the energy in that direction. Now understand, at 50 years old, even though I've got a bad leg, okay, even though I've got one, at 50 years old, I taught myself how to skateboard. And I didn't do it to show anybody else. I never learned any of the tricks. I simply got to the point where I was comfortable riding around on it. Okay, now I know full well if I try it again, I'm going to do two things. One, I found the strain at that point was way too hard on my knee. I don't recommend it as you get a whole lot older unless you work up to it first. But all things you work up to. You don't go into doing something figuring that you're going to be, the best at it right off the bat is just a bad idea. If you're one of these people that enjoys skydiving, my suspicion is you went through a lot of training before you jumped out of the first plane. You didn't jump out of the first plane with no training at all and jump out and try, throw the parachute out and jump out and try and catch it, and then put it on. Professional parachute and paratroopers can do that. Okay, if they have to. But they don't start out that good. Okay. And I'm telling you, the other issue you got to remember is, as I was growing up, I was always told, you have to have your life in order. You've got to have a plan by the time you're 20 in order to be successful. Well, here's the reality behind that. Most people are in their late 40s to early 50s by the time they figured it out. I'm sort of a late bloomer in that direction because I'm a professional procrastinator. I've known for decades what I really ultimately was going to end up doing, but I never got off my tail feathers until about 3 years ago. Okay, I now have the first book that I wrote the outline in grade 10. Okay, now I graduated at 18. Well, actually, I graduated at 17, I think. But in any of no, wait a minute, it would have been June. Yeah, I just turned, I don't know, 63 to 81. So, yeah, I just turned 18, I think. I'm not going to do the math right now. In any event, it took me from then until just in 2019, I published the first of the novels. Now, I published a couple other things beforehand, but this was a major goal. So, it is now, the first one's out. The second one, I'm about a quarter way through final proofing on, then it'll go directly to print. I've already got the artwork for the cover done. The third one, I just got handed an interim piece of artwork for it to do the third book. Okay, so things are starting to move in the right direction. But it didn't happen just because I said I'd really like to be an author. It happened because I put the effort in, I've put the time in, and out it comes. Now, there is not a goal on the planet that I'm aware of that without training you can't pull off. There's a few I wouldn't recommend. Number one, like the biggest, most obvious, whether you want to be able to fly without a parachute or any other aerial conveyance, if you want to physically be able to do that, I would not hold my breath expecting it to happen. Okay, I will tell you it is possible. Okay, I've seen it done. Can I prove it? No. But I can tell you it is possible. Of course, some would say I'm both a pessimist and an optimist. In as much as I believe anything that you put your mind to, when your head and your heart are in unison, there is very little you cannot accomplish. And to this end, to get your heart in unison with yourself, I do strongly encourage you to find a group of people, of like-minded individuals, of like-minded support group. Now, I strongly encourage people to put their family back together. And I'm talking the bloodline family, the one you were born to. That doesn't always work. But see what you can do. And remember, it's not just your effort, it's the effort of everybody in the family. Okay, because no matter how much effort you put into in any relationship, it is only 50% of the required effort. If your bloodline family isn't working, then the people you choose to have around you, that social group that you choose to have around you, it may be your social group, it may be a work group, it may be a support group if you suffer from something like PTSD or alcoholism or drug addiction. These are all types of families. Okay, the people you choose to have around you. Okay, surround yourself with these types of people. Absolutely, where it comes to the spiritual side of things, it doesn't matter which church or which temple or which coven you go to. Doesn't matter at all, as long as they follow karmic law. Okay, karmic law is simple. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, if you follow those three laws, take a look at the guidelines of whatever support group you've got, and compare them to those three. And I would love to hear from you, especially if you find one of the guidelines you work with that doesn't fit under with those three. Absolutely, drop me a line at one of the contact points below. Leave your comments on this video. Okay. Absolutely necessary. Okay. And, drop me a line. Let me know. I guess it's not technically absolutely necessary, but drop me a line. Let me know, because I have looked at Christianity, the Church of Satan, Buddhism, Muslim. I've looked at the Cree religion. I've looked at the witches' coven. All of these are different types of spiritual guidelines that I've looked at. And all the guidelines I've seen have fallen into those three. So, like I said, this is the time right here, right now, that you can change your life for what you consider the better. But it's only you that can make the changes. You can talk to everybody around you and get the insight from them, get guidance from anybody you choose. I'm not the perfect person by any stretch. In case you hadn't noticed, I have a tendency of getting a little wound on some things. But I will tell you this. Can we try one thought at a time? Regardless of who you decide to follow, I'm not telling you who to go and follow. I'm just telling you, make sure you're thinking, and make sure that if something feels wrong here, make sure that you don't talk yourself into doing it. Basic rule of thumb for a moral guideline for yourself. Okay, and this is the same guideline I use. If I can stand up and proudly say, this is what I did, then carry on doing it. If you can look in the mirror and say, I went and did such and such, then carry on doing it. But remember, stick inside the karmic laws. Okay, if you feel like you have to hide what you did, or you feel you're going to get in trouble with it if you do it, it's probably best not to go there. Now, absolutely, there are some massive flaws with the way society is built, but understand, those flaws have been built over centuries. Actually, over thousands of years, but you get the idea. Okay, so it is absolutely imperative that you get focused in your own head what is working for you, what you're content with. If you're in a relationship that you're not content with, and you have kids, I'm telling you from everything I've seen, staying in the relationship for the kids doesn't work well. At least not for them. Okay, now understand, I've been working in the consulting business in personal, business, and UFO related stuff since I was 10. Okay, so when I'm saying it doesn't work, it's not because I've read a bunch of other books and they've all said the same thing. It's because with over 80,000 clients under my belt, the standard outcome, the most common outcome when parents try and stay together for the children, is the children come out feeling very, very insecure, very unstable in their own right, and they tend to draw themselves to relationships that are complicated. And I know parents don't actually do that intentionally. Okay, there are not that many people out there that are completely warped. There are a few, and rest assured, some people have looked at me. I've literally been told that, by some people that, no, you aren't crazy. I don't think you're crazy, but the way you talk sounds like you're crazy. Okay, and, I can't argue the point. Okay, and the reason I can't is because of the fact that I don't see the world like everybody else, and I'm not really functionally adept at explaining it. But I do know that by working together, we can turn this world back into a proper paradise, where there is no war, there is no famine, where people actually look forward to talking to each other. And I'll tell you, ever since COVID started to open up, and masks are no longer required in a lot of places, okay, because of that, people are now able to see people smiling again. And I'll tell you, it is a wonderful feeling. Okay, if you don't believe me, try it. Smile at somebody you don't know and see what kind of a reaction you get. You may not get any reaction at all, but the majority of people will smile or nod at you in greeting, even if they don't have a clue who you are. Now, I keep these recordings to a half hour, and we're winding that down. So again, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the little notification bell. Okay, share the daylights out of the videos, because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of reinforcement coming up. Yes, I do repeat myself quite frequently, but it seems to work for me. It's working for me now. Anyway, that being said, I will catch up with you again tomorrow. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.